We at the CPR Worldwide Media Network, your constitutional patriot radio station, would like to take a moment to reach out to a portion of our listening audience. To the NSA, the mainstream media, to liberals masquerading as conservatives who would like to see us off the air, and to those who are spinning their wheels trying to take us down, we have a special message just for you. At the CPR Worldwide Media Network, we're happy to be your 24/7, 365 obsession because, while you have your little panties in a wad, we're speaking truth to power, telling real conservatives what you don't want them to hear, the truth. And we're not gonna stop. Now then, back under your collective bridges with the rest of your fellow trolls, and oh yes, thanks for listening to CPR.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Has come for our voices to be heard, for our borders to be secured, and our immigration laws enforced. Welcome to the Ruthie Report. Let's start the show in the correct fashion. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome to the Ruthie Report. Our guest this evening and the topic that we will be discussing is the Refugee Resettlement Program with our special guest, David H. Now, this is going to be a very informative show. You do not want to miss it. Dave categorizes, as I do, the Refugee Resettlement Program as backdoor illegal immigration. Pretty much puts it right out there. What we are going to discuss tonight are many of these following points. The program itself, where did it come from, what the program is about, history of the program, who is administering it, who is being brought in, how much it's costing you and I, the taxpayers, the agenda behind the agenda, and what we, the people, can do at a federal and state level on this. Now, Dave's credentials and bio is extremely impressive. He is a U.S. Army veteran with operational experience in Bosnia, Egypt, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. He has taught Middle East Studies at the U.S. Army Special Warfare Center and School. He is currently a member of the Texas Border Volunteers, as am I, and a public speaker on Middle East and border security issues. Again, Dave will be joining us at the top of the 9 o'clock hour, at the top of the 1 hour break here. So please stay tuned. We are going to take a quick 3-minute commercial break. When we return, we will jump in to lead stories. Please stay tuned.
Things with the new guy.
All we do is go out to dinner.
That's it?
I mean, he picks up the tab every time, which is great.
Why? He's using you. He probably has a city thank you card and he gets 2 times the points at restaurants.
So he's just racking up points with me.
Some people.
Ugh.
No, I got it.
The Citi Thank You Preferred Card. Now earn 2 times the points on dining out and entertainment with no annual fee. To apply, go to citi.com/thankyoucards.
The design of the Ford Escape is clearly intended to grab your eye. Oh, and your foot. Huh, ain't that a kick? The Ford Escape with the foot-activated liftgate. Go open up something interesting. Go further.
The moment you connect, you're no longer in control.
What does this guy want? No claim, no statement.
We're facing a nuclear meltdown.
This is only the beginning.
Black Hat, rated R.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here.
We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
Who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
If I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Welcome back to the Ruthie Report. Thank you for tuning in. Now, as routine listeners of the Ruthie Report know, I generally save my comments on and to the issue of illegal immigration, but tonight I have one exception. Fred Thompson is right. My message to the brave men and women of the armed forces, including American sniper Chris Kyle, for your service to this nation, service that too many times goes unnoticed or unappreciated. Not only the enlistee themselves, but their families as well. From a grateful nation, we thank you. To those weighing in on the American sniper controversy, one way or the other, really doesn't matter, one way or the other, is it really about Chris Kyle and the role of a sniper, or the war itself? Am I to assume you would have just watched a fellow American be taken out, or would you have taken that shot? This question does not seem to enter the dialogue currently taking place. War is not holding hands singing Kumbaya. It is war. Again, to those who have served in defense of this nation in the past, the present, and the future, we thank you. All right, let's get to it. Lead stories. I have so much for you tonight, we're going to have to just really fly. First off the bat, attention Minnesotans. Minnesotans, pay attention. You need to see a piece of legislation that is now in the Minnesota House and Senate. Not only do some of the Minnesota legislators want money to go for the DACAs, now they haven't included the DAPAs as well, the parents, with no dollar amount advocated. And I told you, I've warned you this was coming. The bills are HF 178 in the House and SF 140 in the Senate. You know, isn't it just wonderful? Not, you know, but isn't it wonderful that now we have a new classification, the NAPAs? It is treason, folks. Now, I have made some calls, and I have been told that this will not pass. However, you may want to call your legislator, and make sure that it never sees the light of day. What am I talking about? Here is a brief description. Relating to civil law, appropriating money for the Deferred Action for Parental Accountability, DAPA, and the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, legal assistance grants. I kid you not. This is for appropriating money for legal assistance grants. There is no dollar amount assigned in the writing that's posted. It is for the fiscal year of 2016. It will be appropriated from the general fund to the Department of Administration for one or more competitive grants to nonprofit organizations to provide assistance and advice to individuals potentially affected by the federal Deferred Action for Parental Accountability and the federal Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival programs. Again, you may wish to make some phone calls. This must not be funded. It must not be paid for by the Minnesota taxpayers. You know, if they want money for these grants, ask for donations. See how many Minnesotans are eager to donate. And I remind you, they may be a little reluctant seeing that your DACA and NAPA status is temporary. Something to keep your eye on, Minnesotans. Now, next item is posted at Breitbart, and it's written by Matthew Bohl, January 28th. Loretta Lynch responds to Jeff Sessions saying illegals have a right to work in America. President Barack Obama's nominee to replace Eric Holder as Attorney General of the United States, Loretta Lynch, said on Wednesday during a Senate Judiciary Committee confirmation hearing that she thinks illegal aliens have the same right to work in America as American citizens do. She said, quote unquote, "Senator, I believe the right and the obligation to work is one that is shared by everyone in the country regardless of how they came here," end quote. Certainly, she added, if someone is here regardless of their status, I would prefer that they be participating in the workplace than not participating in the workplace, she said. She also said she doesn't believe that Obama's executive action on immigration is amnesty. She said, quote unquote, "With respect to the provision about temporary deferral, I did not read it as providing a legal amnesty. That is a permanent status there," Lynch said. Now, please note, all of you that are illegally in the country and listening to me as we speak, she said temporary, not permanent. You guys keep forgetting that little bit. This DACA stuff is temporary. When asked by Sessions whether she agrees with Holder's stated opinion that amnesty and citizenship for illegal aliens in America is a civil right, she dodged the question, saying that she hasn't studied the issue enough to give a legal opinion. Good Lord, wouldn't you think if she's going in front of the Judiciary Committee for confirmation on such a hot button issue as amnesty and citizenship that she might have just done a little bit of homework? It's a sellout. One would think that somebody that wants to be the top cop of the nation would be able to understand the difference between legally in the country and an illegal alien. Obama has done a great job filling his administration with American sellouts. 18 million plus unemployed Americans, but everybody's fallen all over their asses to make sure that illegal aliens can work. Can't be for cheap labor, could it? The majority of the replies to this posting on Facebook were 3 of them. Number 1, another Holder clone. Number 2, yes, they are legal to work in their own country. And number 3, Lynch must not get the nomination. But I thought about this for a second and kind of took a step back and looked at the big picture. You know what? I can't wait for the black community to finally wake up and see that this amnesty will be devastating to their employment desires, not to mention the rest of the population. All okayed by a black president and a black DOJ head. To all of you who are listening that are black Americans, not black illegal aliens, I don't even want to hear from you, but Americans or absolutely legal residents, please email me at minnSir@yahoo.com, minsir@yahoo.com, and tell me exactly how you believed this proposed must not happen amnesty is going to benefit you. I don't want to hear your ideology or your stance on the issue, but exactly this. How is this unconstitutional, lawless amnesty via fiat by a black president and the selected candidate for top cop of this nation, along with others who support it like the Democratic Party and the NAACP, going to help the black community? The answer is it's not. It's not going to help any American, period. Again, email me at minsir@yahoo.com because inquiring minds would like to know. A final note to Miss Lynch. It is illegal for an illegal alien to seek employment. Oh my God. No wonder we are in the shape we are in. Moving on. This is from the HuffingtonPost.com dated the 27th. Title: Senate Democrats demand a clean DHS funding bill. Out of Washington. It's even more official, it starts. A bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security that goes after President Barack Obama's executive actions on immigration isn't getting through the Senate. The entire Senate Democratic caucus signed a letter Tuesday afternoon to Majority Leader Mitch McConnell expressing support for Minority Leader Harry Reid, who has called for a clean bill to fund DHS, meaning one that has no riders attached, including the legislation approved earlier this month in the House. The House's DHS funding bill passed on January 14th, and McConnell told reporters on Tuesday that the Senate will take it up when they are finished working on legislation authorizing the Keystone Pipeline, which, if I have my information correct, passed in the Senate today. He said, "We are aimed to finish on Keystone this week." Although Republicans have the majority in the Senate, they would need 6 Democrats to join them in supporting the bill to get 60 votes needed to move forward. Now, isn't it just something, my thoughts, isn't it just something that Reid demands no riders? Of course, the Republican Party, they will not call Reid out on his past rider inclusions. You know, there was a post today on this. A liberal posted a comment of this article stating that we, and I'll paraphrase in my own terms, we, those demanding the rider's stay, complain about wanting the rider to stand, but we cannot come up with one rider the Democrats have submitted. Folks, you can't fix stupid, and I mean it. How about, well, which I would reply to this liberal is, how about liberal Harry Reid's lighters? You know, the same Harry Reid that was against amnesty before he was for it. Like back in 1993 when he said, and I quote, "If making it easy to be an illegal alien isn't enough, how about offering a reward for being an illegal immigrant? No sane country would do that, right? Guess again, if you break our laws by entering this country without permission and give birth to a child, we reward that child with U.S. citizenship and guarantee full access to all public and social services this society provides." And that's a lot of services. Is it any wonder that 2/3 of the babies born at taxpayer expense in country-run hospitals in Los Angeles are born to illegal alien mothers, end quote. Again, that was Harry Reid in 1993. I suppose he's just had a change of heart or something. And what about his riders? Let's see, from September 14th, 2010, Harry Reid will add the DREAM Act to the amnesty bill. He said the controversial immigration measure to defensive. Harry Reid on September 15th, 2010. Reid adds amnesty to the defense bill. Harry Reid adds tourism promotion amendment. That was posted at tavernkeepers.com. How about American Insight? Harry Reid adds pork to immigration. That's June 25th of 2013, where, of course, they said Reid would never found a bill he couldn't add pork to. And that's just to mention a few. The GOP must stand united in the Senate. They must stand united and pass the House DHS funding bill and not fund the amnesty. Let's sit back and see what's more important to the Obama administration and the Democrats, funding DHS or pushing an amnesty down the throats of the American people and not funding it. Let's put it back in their laps for a change. Senate, GOP, stand up. Good grief. Next, this is from the Washington Times, dated January 28th. If this doesn't curl your hair. White House to border agents. Tell illegals about Obama's amnesty to see if they qualify. This is at the Washington Times, January 28th, and I am not making this up. I'm not kidding you, folks. It's by a Cheryl Chumley. The White House has ordered federal authorities to inquire of any illegal immigrant they happen to come across during the course of duty. Do you know whether you qualify for any type of amnesty grant under Obama's recent deportation order? Are you kidding me? The Associated Press obtained internal documents detailing the new procedure for federal authorities, namely agents with Customs and Border Protection and with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Rather than putting immigrants in charge of providing their qualifications for staying in the United States, under the terms of Obama's policy, it puts the government in charge of identifying those individuals who might qualify for leniency. Federal immigration agents have also reportedly been ordered to sift through government files to see if any immigrants who are currently in jail would qualify for freedom under Obama's amnesty order, said the AP. Agents are being discouraged away from anything other than a cursory view and immigrant status, said former Deputy Assistant Attorney General to the Justice Department, John McComb. I can't hardly believe what I just shared with you. Are you kidding me? The lawlessness of this administration has reached new heights. Is there anyone out there who will stop this? I personally, I find it hard to believe. It's unbelievable that not even some of the Democrats are up in arms about this one. It is going to come back and bite every single one of these politicians who supports this nonsense. Border agents are not only demonized into babysitters, but now they're going to be paper pushing, get out of jail free to go clerks. Talk about demoralizing. Enough, folks, enough. I have said it before and I'm going to say it again. The road to anarchy is running at full bore right towards us. You remember those to hold accountable. Those pushing it and those that would do nothing to stop it. This is utter nonsense. Now our border agents have become clerks for the illegal aliens. I can't hardly believe it. Moving on. It's just so utterly mind-boggling. You have hardly a description to add. Really. Let's see here. There is some good news. We have a secretive Freedom Caucus that has claims the scalps on the border bill delay. This is good news. Members of a newly formed, staunchly conservative House Freedom Caucus, which just announced its 9 founding members, are already claiming credit for blocking an immigration bill that had been scheduled for the floor action this week. The communications were made to the House leadership by our Freedom Caucus last week. And all of a sudden this week you see the bill being delayed, said Representative Mo Brooks of Alabama, a top immigration hawk who was not named as part of the group, but nonetheless has been attending the meetings. They say there's 9, but apparently the group is considerably much larger than that, and they're estimating it at 40. This is good news, folks. Finally, a glimmer of light and hope. Let's hope. Let's just hope and pray that we hear much more good news from this newly formed Freedom Caucus. And I thank each and every one of them. Let's see here. We have about 2 minutes. We'll just keep going as fast as we can here to get to as much as we can. There is at CIS.org, not .com, .org, an article, and the title is 84% of aliens admitted in first year of Senate high-tech bill won't be high-tech workers. I kid you not. Again, go to www.cis.org. It's by David North. It's dated January 23rd, and it says approximately 84% of those who are going to come here on this new Senate bill that's Fon's nickname is I-Squared Act, 84% won't even be high-tech. At this article, David North lays out the numbers, how he achieved them, who will benefit at our U.S. high-tech workers' expense. So please check that out. There's another article at vdare.com dated January 27th. I would like you to look this one up. I don't have time to get to it, but the title is Illegal Aliens Clean Up on Our Fraud-Friendly Income Tax System. Again, it's at vdare.com dated January 27th. The title is illegal aliens clean up on our fraud-friendly income tax system. You know, while the IRS is busting the chops of Tea Party members, lying through their teeth, refusing to answer questions in front of any committee, playing games at best, now we hear that if you are going to get a refund, they might not have the money to pay you right away. Oh, you guys could just kind of sit back and wait. Of course, if we owe them money, that's not going to work the other way around. It's not a two-way street here. And then we find out the outrageous number of money that is going to illegal aliens. It's the suburban Illinois reader would like to remind you that while you're paying taxes, illegals are getting refunds for dependents in Mexico. And it is true. Please do look it up. And if you doubt that they're getting money and sending it to Mexico for their dependents, do a search for it. You'll be astounded what you find. Okay, we are going to take our first break. When we come back, we will have tonight's criminally and or insane segment, and I will try to get to some of the other news we did not have time for. Please stay tuned. We will be right back.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
You know what happens when we take away the late fees and penalty rate? No one misses them. The City Simplicity card is the only card that never has late fees, a penalty rate, or an annual fee. Ever. Go to city.com/simplicity to apply.
The design of the Ford Escape is clearly intended to grab your eye. Oh, and your foot. Huh, ain't that a kick? The Ford Escape with the foot-activated liftgate. Go open up something interesting. Go further.
The moment you connect, you're no longer in control.
What does this guy want? No claim, no statement.
We're facing a nuclear meltdown.
This is only the beginning.
Black Hat, rated R.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here.
We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
Who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
If I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Welcome back to the Ruthie Report. Thank you for tuning in. As you know, that signals tonight's criminally and or insane segment. We have a lot to get to tonight here, too. I just have so much news for you this week. It's just unbelievable. We'll get to as much as we can, and if we can, I want to get back to an article, measles outbreak. I want to discuss that with you if we have time. First, I have two just maddening maddening criminal articles to share with you. This first one is from WJBF.com. It is dated January 26th. The title, ICE. Driver charged with killing 3 in Hoke County is in the country, is U.S. illegal. This is out of Rayford, North Carolina by the WNCN staff dated January 26th. The driver who crashed into a Hoke County family, killing the father, mother, and son, is suspected of being in the United States illegally, WNCN confirmed on Monday. The wreck occurred just before 10 p.m. on Friday, when a truck driven by Rodolfo Marlon Villa, 29, of St. Paul's, ran a stop sign and slammed into an SUV driven by Jamie Oxendine, 43, and I do apologize if I'm pronouncing the last name incorrectly, Oxendine, 43, of Red Springs. Both vehicles ran off the road and came to rest on private property after the collision. Jamie Oxendine, his wife Marianne, and Austin Shane Oxendine, 17, were killed in the wreck. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement said that Vila is in the country illegally. He remained in jail on Monday on a $750,000 bond. Documents in the case say that Vila had an odor of alcohol about his breath. They do not list Vila as having a social security number or a driver's license. Vila and his passenger, Martinez Misele Thomas, 25, were injured and taken to Cape Fear Valley Medical Center. Vila is facing charges of driving while impaired, reckless driving, 3 counts of felony death by vehicle, stop sign violation, driving with no license, seat belt violation, open container of alcohol, and exceeding safe speed for conditions. He is being held in the Hoke County Detention Center. Vila is scheduled to appear in court on March 5th. Vila was previously arrested in Raleigh in September of 2014. For what? For being intoxicated and disruptive. The Oxendines leave behind 3 other children, ages 16, 18, and 23. Services for the family are still being finalized. 3 more lives taken by yet another illegal alien dreamer. He should have been deported upon his illegal entrance, and again in 2014. Here's my question. How many lives must be lost before the political games end? How many more illegal aliens will maim and kill who already had previous records? How many more deaths at the hands of someone who should not be in the United States to begin with? And more frightening, who's next? Our condolences to the surviving Oxendines and their family and friends. All so preventable. The next one is concerning. This is posted at Alan West's page, AlanBWest.com. It is written by a Michelle Hickford, editor-in-chief, and it's dated January 28th. The title, 21-year-old store clerk fatally shot by illegal alien facing deportation. As this story evolves, we're learning more. It says, first of all, the victim was white, so you're not going to hear much about it. And second, the shooter was an illegal immigrant from Mexico who came to the country when he was just 14 years old, making him a dreamer. He is now 29, but never attended school in the U.S. and apparently never went beyond a 5th grade education. However, he did manage to marry and have 2 kids. According to AZCentral.com, Apollinaire Altamirano went into a Quick Trip convenience store in Mesa at about 4 a.m. last Thursday. He dropped a jar of change on the counter and demanded the clerk, 21-year-old Grant Rudenbeck, give him a pack of cigarettes. Although the illegal thought Rudenbeck was taking too long, he pulled out a gun and shot him point blank in the face, killing him on the spot. AZCentral.com says that Altamirano was facing deportation proceedings but had been released from federal custody on bond. He had pled guilty in 2012 to a reduced charge of facilitation to commit burglary and placed on 2 years of supervised probation, even though he had claimed ties. He claimed ties to the Mexican mafia after entering a woman's apartment in Mesa, after Mesa police had arrested her boyfriend on drug charges. After reviewing his immigration status and criminal history, which showed only this conviction, ICE determined that under applicable law, he was eligible for bond. He posted a $10,000 bond on January 7th of 2013. Jessica Vaughn, Director of Policy Studies for the Center of Immigration Studies, said, "The case is an example of an Obama administration policy where ICE sets very high standards for which undocumented immigrants are held in custody and is more apt to release people awaiting immigration court hearings." She said there is no logical reason for ICE to let people like that out of custody instead of sending them home. My thoughts. This makes me sick. It angers me and it disgusts me. And now, after the fact, what are we all discussing? Every single one of us. I'm just about as guilty of it as everybody else. What are we discussing? We're discussing this criminal, illegal, uneducated, should have been deported, or not even in the country to begin with, illegal alien murderer. Undiscussed is Grant Rudenbeck, a young man whose life has been snuffed out because our politicians are playing games instead of enforcing the law. A young man forever gone. So where is the outrage, folks? Where are the marches and protests in the street for Grant? Where is the constant news coverage on this murder by an Obama dreamer with a rap sheet? Here's a news flash for you. Grant's life mattered. How do you like that? My condolences to the Rudenbeck family. What else can you say? Moving on, this is out of Lexington, out of LEX18.com. Please note, the immigration status of everybody involved is not disclosed, which is par for the course for many news outlets. But I will let you ponder that yourself. The title, Police. Mother did not get medical attention for daughter after sexual assault. I kid you not. Dated the 29th. Police say a Bourbon County mother refused to act and get help for her daughter after she told her she had been sexually assaulted. According to the warrant, 34-year-old Florivette Villalpando didn't call the police or get medical help for her 9-year-old daughter after the revelation of sexual abuse. Police arrested the mother on Wednesday night. Villalpando's warrant says her daughter told her that she had been raped by a man at this trailer earlier in the month. Police arrested the alleged rapist, Manuel Gonzalez, and charged him with rape and sexual abuse. Through a translator, Gonzalez told LEX 18 that he didn't do it. Villalpando is charged with endangering the welfare of a minor. You know, such wonderful family values, isn't it? Yeah, just keep welcoming them in with open arms. Next, I told you about this a couple of weeks ago, and this controversy, although most are not hearing about it, just hasn't gone away, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. This is Santa Barbara News Press. The title is Records Request Draws Closed Door Session. It's by Scott Stapleton at News Press City, and he's the News Press City editor, dated the 27th. The city attorney has taken an unusual step of convening a closed door session of the Santa Barbara City Council over a California Public Records Act request filed by News Press. On January 12th, the paper requested, among other things, copies of emails between a councilwoman, Kathy Murillo's city email account and the email account of a not-for-profit collective known as Potter, P-O-D-E-R. The group protesting the News Press over the papers using the term illegals to describe people in the country illegally. Go figure. Not only has Miss Murillo joined protests at the News Press in Del Lagura Plaza, equating the words illegal to the vilest of racial epithets against blacks, she escorted a small group of people to the newspaper office to cancel their subscription. Oh, my. The document request, which spans an 11-day period, also seeks copy of any written correspondence on city letterhead from Miss Murillo that references the Santa Barbara News Press or News Press alone. Government agencies subject to the Act are generally required to respond to public records requests within 10 days. City Attorney, however, Aurelio Priest Colon, responded to the request in question by claiming that the items might not be public at all, and that the city would need until at least Friday to make that determination. He said, quote unquote, "The city council has a substantial subject matter interest in determining whether potentially privileged council records are disclosed. The request," he states, "creates a unusual circumstance under government code, hence the request for the closed door session." Meaning, folks, all that means is that they do not want the public to know what's going on. However, the good news of this article is this. Don Catchett, the News Press Director of News Operations, issued this following statement on Monday, and it is my privilege to share it with you. Quote, unquote, "A fully transparent and open government is fundamental to the trust of the electorate places in those elected officials. That transparency, when obstructed or restricted, is a slap in the face of all law-abiding citizens, especially those who believe in checks and balances and that no one, including elected officials, are above the law. The city's delay of a routine Public Record Act request into the communications of a city council member and whether those communications were appropriate is nothing short of the city's circling the wagons to protect one of their own. The city has a dubious record of violating the Brown Act, holding Architectural Board of Review applicants hostage due to their personal bias, breaking the law in discussions over the possible closure of De La Gura Plaza, and now possibly withholding communications that would affect our First Amendment right to free speech. The News Press will not give in to political pressure or intimidation, nor will we stand by if taxpayer resources are used to attack those rights guaranteed under the Constitution. End quote. Thank you, Santa Barbara News Press. Thank you for using the correct terminology. Thank you for standing strong. And thank you for calling out those officials who believe that they are above the law, as well as the rest of the trolls and moles. Please, folks, consider giving the news press, the Santa Barbara News Press, an email or a call and thanking them with your thoughts. Ugh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know, it's crap like that they continue to get away with because we, the people, do not hold them accountable, and that's why we are where we are. If we would have held them accountable back in 1986 when they made all these promises that turned out to be nothing but lies, we wouldn't be where we are today. Congratulations, Santa Barbara News Press. Keep up the good work. Now, there is one from Illegal Alien Crime Report by Dave Gibson, an illegal alien from the Middle East who was arrested for burglary in Texas. Not going to read that one to you, just don't have time. I want to get to these last two, the measles and this one, if I could first. And we'll discuss this one a little bit more with our guest tonight, but this is also from Dave Gibson, illegaliencrimereport.com. This first part is dated January 1st because there is an update. Here it is. This first part was written by Tim Brown from Freedom Outpost. In November, I visited St. Paul, Minnesota for the first time and got somewhat of a first-hand look at what Somali Muslims have done to the area in and around the city. Truly, they know how to Truly, they know how to run the area into the ground. On top of that, it also apparent that the welfare jihad that is taking place there as well. The latest incident involves the DEQO family centers, which are child daycare centers. According to the Ramsey County Attorney's Office, several people, including two of the owners who are Muslim, have been charged with 96 felonies in a major scam that defrauded the government of $4 million. Yasmin Ali, 33, and her husband Ahmed Mohammed, 46, were charged along with Joshua John Miller, 31. All are listed as owners of the DEQO family centers. Ali and Mohammed also have failed to pay more than $200,000 in taxes and fees, according to the prosecutors. So how did they pull this off? One way, according to one report, was to hide their theft by purchasing child care center meals from family members at ridiculously inflated prices. They also paid family members even though that they were not conducting legitimate business services for the organization, and then they deducted non-business expense on their tax returns. However, their fraud goes much deeper. According to the prosecutor in the case, the defendant defrauded Medicaid for $500,000 by submitting false claims through another company. That company? All Nations Home Health Care, which Ali had substantial interest in. Ali faces 52 charges. Her husband Mohammed, 20 charges. Miller, 17. Ali will be facing an omnibus hearing January 15th. Mohammed, who ran the day-to-day operations, has an active warrant out for his arrest. Here's the update from AnokaKSTP.com, dated January 23rd. Judge denies reduced bail for suspected mastermind of multi-million-dollar scheme. I kid you not. A Ramsey County judge refused to lower bail Friday for a woman accused of organizing a multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. Ali of Fridley is being held in the Ramsey County Jail on a $750,000 bail. Ali is charged with 52 counts, including racketeering, theft by swindle, identity theft, and Mohammed, her husband, faces 20 counts of the same charges. Mohammed was not arrested in December because prosecutors say he's still on the run. A prosecutor on Friday said that less than $2,000 has been seized from Ali's bank accounts. He cited additional assets that are not yet accounted for and Mohammed's fugitive status as two reasons why the bail couldn't be reduced. She will be back in court on February 3rd. Why in the hell would we reduce her bail? It makes no sense. All right, and we are going to get to this last story, the measles, here before we take our break, and we are joined by our guest this evening. This is from theexaminer.com. It's written by Dean Chambers, and it's dated January 26th. When our country was invaded, thanks for President Barack Obama giving them the green light, by more than 60,000 unaccompanied illegal immigrant children last year, many doctors and others warned us those children could be bringing many diseases to our country. Dr. Mark Siegel, MD of Fox News Channel, Medical A-Team, advised us of this risk. The Association of American Physicians and Surgeons warned us of diseases coming across the border with all those illegal immigrant children, a warning ignored by the Obama administration and others. Once they started attending our schools, the diseases started spreading. For years, measles and other diseases were almost non-existent, but within months of allowing those children in, now we're told that the measles outbreak that originated at Disneyland in California has climbed 78 cases in 7 states. The outbreak of whooping cough that appears to have come out of nowhere. It is also linked to illegal immigration. The mainstream media has jumped in to rescue the pro-illegal immigration side and the Obama administration, looking also to convince us amnesty isn't bringing disease. The mainstream media has a new spin. The measles wasn't brought here by those illegal immigrant children that came here already infected with measles. The reports being put out say that it's American moms who refused to get their children vaccinated that caused other children to get measles. And if measles just naturally created itself out of thin air at the moment one unvaccinated child went to school. The claims even go so far as to suggest that children who did get the shots are getting measles from the children, of course, who didn't get the measles shots. That doesn't even make sense logically. If the vaccine works, as the drug companies who make them and the Center for Disease Control claim, then those children getting the vaccination should not be getting affected. He goes on to say, even the very valid question about whether the vaccine even works is a distraction from the real issue here that the mainstream media doesn't want to report. The measles came across the border with all those unaccompanied illegal immigrant children. That is the bottom line. It's that simple. It's not about any decline in the vaccination rate, but about children infected with diseases coming across the border and infecting American children. End of article. My thoughts. Well, first of all, you will not be surprised, I'm sure, to hear that now the University of Minnesota campus has confirmed measles as well. You know, Of course, many of us already believed that this measles outbreak was a direct result of the border invasion this summer, and the insistence by the DOJ that these children be enrolled in our schools, healthy, vaccinated, or not. But I did have a comment today from one person, and I'd like to share it. And the post stated, and again, I'm paraphrasing, it said, likely, because the title of the article is Measles Outbreak Likely from Illegal Immigrant Children. And this comment was, likely? I will wait to decide until we have more than a likely on this. To which I replied, seeing that we are informed factually that this illegal invasion is bringing with it disease such as tuberculosis, as we've seen in the detention facilities in Texas, whom border agents were contracting and health officials warned us of, and of the illegal alien children that they could come and spread disease, I do not find it a hard stretch to put this exactly where I believe it falls, on the invasion. We will, folks, never likely get anyone to report and share that this outbreak is a direct result of the invasion and the open borders agenda. Why? Because it doesn't fit their narrative. So for those of you that want to wait for a concrete article to come out, it's illegal alien children, be my guest. The rest of us will just stay caught up to speed. We are going to take our second break. When we come back, we are going to be joined by our guest, David. This is going to be an awesome show. Please stay tuned.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Why do cities shine so bright? It's the glow of opportunities, of ideas bouncing off one another, of countless people, every one of us, striving to succeed. Right now, in cities everywhere, ideas are being born. New thinking that will put us in awe of what people are capable of. That's what lights cities up, and helping people and their ideas to burn even brighter, so that communities, businesses, and you and I can grow. What if a bank made that its job? For more than 200 years, Citi's job has been to help empower people and business. Now, around the world, it's wherever people gather, wherever ideas come alive. It's wherever you are. The world's city.
The most amazing thing about the Ford Fusion isn't the way it looks. The most amazing thing is the way it sees. With blind spot technology, a lane keeping system, and a standard rear view camera, the Fusion is ready for whatever comes your way. Go prepared. Go further.
The moment you connect, you're no longer in control.
What does this guy want? No claim, no statement.
We're facing a nuclear meltdown.
This is only the beginning.
Black Hat, rated R.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here.
We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
Who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
If I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Welcome back to the Ruthie Report. Thank you for tuning in. Now, it is my honor to have our next guest on, Dave, and what we are going to be discussing is the Refugee Resettlement Program. If you were not here at the top of the show, Dave is a U.S. Army veteran with operational experience in Bosnia, Egypt, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. He has also taught Mid-Eastern Studies at the U.S. Army Special Warfare Center and School. He is currently a member of the Texas Border Volunteers and a public speaker on Middle East and border security issues. Welcome to the program, Dave. Are you there?
Yes, thank you very much, Ruthie. Good to be here.
Thank you so very much for being my guest this evening. And before we jump into anything, I would like to thank you for your service to our country, sir.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. I had an opening, and I'll have to share it with you later, Dave, on this Chris Kyle controversy. It's just mind-boggling at best of what's going on there. But anyway, welcome to the Ruthie Report. We have a lot of people tuning in tonight that want to hear all about the Refugee Resettlement Program. So I did share a little bit about you with the listeners. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Yes, there is. Not about myself, but there are two quick things I'd like to make folks aware of. First off, we just had Muslim Day at the Capitol here in Austin, Texas. And one of our newly elected representatives, Molly White, she offered, the House was in recess, but she had instructed her staff that if Muslims came in, asked them if they'd like to announce their allegiance to America and our laws. And now she's gained a lot of criticism on Facebook and other places about what she asked. And quite frankly, I see that as kind of appropriate.
Well,
that she would have asked people that, because ostensibly they come to the Capitol to learn all about our system. What better way than to affirm that they are here to become part of the American dream?
Exactly. You know, it drives me mad, and I don't know how many times I have said this, if I had a $10 bill for every time I said this, but it's the American dream. It's the American dream. You want a part of the American dream, come legally and get it. But that means being American. Our laws, our culture, our language, and our flag. It's not the Muslim dream. If you want that, pick a different country to go to.
Right.
And I agree with you. This Miss White.
For all the haters who wrote about Molly, like Fatima Ahmed, and who else is this guy? Chris Pfeiffer and James Props. You know, hey, what's the problem with them adhering to our laws and our ideology? If you have a problem with that, well, maybe you're the one with the problem with our laws and our ideology.
You know, it's just yet another demonstration of the anti-American, unproud, disgusting kind of actions that are being taken by those, all in the name of I don't know what. I mean, I have no idea what their real end of their agenda is. But, if there's so many people out there that really dislike the United States of America, you know what? I'll help you pack. I'll hold the door open for you. Get the hell out. I'm just so tired of this crap. If you want to be an American or find a different place to live. The rest of us are really happy here,
Yeah, my sister had the old LP album from West Side Story, and I remember the line from one of the songs where it said, "I think I go back to San Juan," and the response was, "I know a boat you can get on."
There you go. Exactly. I don't know that song, but okay. And then the second thing you wanted to share with us
is that I can't broach this subject in the short time we have without mentioning Ann Cochran, who has the website refugeeresettlementwatch.wordpress.com. About 4 years ago, in preparing one of my presentations, I ran into one of her posts on the internet, investigated it. Her website is a wealth of information. You can sign up for daily updates, and it's something people need to understand and keep up with, because she posts of what's going on with refugees all around the world, and most importantly in our country. So just want to make sure that people understand that if they're looking to study this issue seriously, a good start is to get on her website.
Okay, can you give her name again? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Ann Cochran, and her website is refugeeresettlementwatch.wordpress.com.
Okay. And if you put in Ann Cochran or the Refugee Resettlement, I'm sure you will find it.
Yeah.
Yep. So please do that, folks. This is, Dave and I are going to do our very, very best to get as much information to you in 1 hour as we can, but it is literally impossible. It is.
Yeah.
Just reading your presentation that I had, it's. You know what, Dave? Let's just go ahead and start in. What I have told the listeners at the beginning of the program is that we were going to talk about the program itself and where did it come from, and how about if we just jump in and start with what is the resettlement program, and then right into where did it come from?
Okay, the modern incarnation, and this goes back to 1979, 1980 time frame. Excuse me. It's under the auspices of the United Nations. And what they are doing is they are settling refugees from different conflicts into third countries. And in 1980, Congress passed this first legislation, then more legislation in 86. And what this does is it commits us to taking in a certain number of refugees every year and resettling them at the public's expense. Okay, so that's where this program is coming from. It's part of the United Nations, which right away, sets off warning bells for me.
Yep.
But what's more disturbing is this. On March 1st, 2003, the Homeland Security Act of 2002 transferred responsibilities for the care and placement of unaccompanied alien children from the Commissioner of Immigration and Naturalization Service to the Director of the Office of Refugee Resettlement, ORR. That ORR is a department under Health and Human Services. So it's the same type of thing as when Clinton transferred oversight of our technology from the Justice Department to the Commerce Department. There are no adults in charge anymore.
And just so everybody understands, the ORR stands for Office of Refugee Resettlement. You will see that a lot in articles and stuff, and they, I don't know if they intentionally don't spell it out or if they just think we all are automatically in the know. But again, folks, when you see the ORR, that is the Office of Refugee Resettlement. Okay, I'm sorry. I just throw things in as we go here. Okay.
Well,
so
when Obama took office, we were taking in 60,000 refugees a year.
Right.
And he upped it to 80,000. And then last November, the UN asked us to raise that ceiling to 100,000 to accommodate Syrian Muslims.
God, unbelievable.
Right now, we're averaging about 40% of the refugees that come into the country under these programs are Muslim. And of course, if we bring in another 20,000, well, that's another 20,000 brought in.
Now, I put out in the announcement, and I'm going to let you clarify in case I, made an error on this, which I do not believe I did, but both you and I classify a lot of what's going on within the refugee resettlement program as nothing more than backdoor illegal immigration.
That's the way I look at it, because I'm still looking for the part in the Constitution that places responsibility for bringing refugees in to the federal government or the state government.
Exactly.
I know that as early as John Quincy Adams, when they tried to allocate government federal money for victims of a natural disaster, he pointed out it's not the federal government's responsibility or realm to do so. And yet we seem to think that it's our responsibility to keep bringing in people at the taxpayer expense. And that is that I characterize that mentality as un-American. Where did they get the authorization to be generous with my money?
Exactly. Now, you had mentioned that the refugee resettlement program is now under the umbrella of Health and Human Services.
That's correct.
Are you aware, Dave, that already, so mind-boggling, ice cream headache kind of stuff, that the HHS, Health and Human Services, are already taking bids of where they will be able to put the unaccompanied children that fled the border in 2015?
Not at all, because they resettled 30,000 children using that same process, and what they've done is the refugee resettlement program works with what's called implementing partners, or VOLOGs. That's the acronym they use. It's essentially these non-governmental organizations, and what they do is they give public money to these non-government organizations such as Baptist Children and Family Services or Caritas, and have them implement the program. So it's not even being run by a sometimes efficient government bureaucrat. It's being run by somebody who's given our tax money.
And was BCFS ever given tons of money? $182 million for 4 months for 2,400 illegal alien children. My God, can you imagine how the rest of us could live on that? The BCFS must just be laughing at the American taxpayer.
Here's a statistic. In 2012, they had a total income of over $67 million. Over $63 million came from the federal government. And the president gets $400,000 a year in salary and benefits.
Yep. And where do you think that $400,000 comes from, folks? You and I. And what does he do? He benefits from bringing in the refugees and the illegal alien children, and making sure that everybody that wants to get their hand in this unlawful action is getting their funds. It's unbelievable. Correct. Okay, so now, who is it really HHS that is administering this? Are they the ones? See, I get a little confused now. Who is it? Is it really the Health and Human Services, or is it some of these minions here, like such as BCFS, who are deciding where these people are coming from? You just mentioned the Syrian Muslims. Who decided that we're going to bring them in?
Well, executive order. Obama did. And so the State Department, I believe, is the entity who decides where they go, which is why we have Somalis and Iraqis in Alaska.
Minnesota.
Yeah, okay, Minnesota.
Oh,
And they are the ones that direct this. And that's very interesting you brought this up. Excuse me, because some of them have already arrived. And they have gone to different states. I'd like to direct the listeners to an article that came up, and it's on WMD, and it's called "The Secret Planting of Up to 75,000 Syrian Muslims Begins in the U.S." And that article will list some of the places where it's leaked out that these people are going to be resettled. Places like Jamestown, North Dakota, Louisville, Kentucky, Spokane, Washington, North Carolina, Texas, Ohio, Lincoln, Nebraska. They find implementing partners willing to take oversight of these refugees and give them the money set up to track them.
And in your report that I was reading on, the top 10 states where the children that have been sent to join their sponsors through this program, through the Department of Homeland Security and the ORR, I don't know what year, I was trying to find what year this was for, but in Texas alone, 4,280.
Yes.
Is that this last invasion that you were talking about, or?
Yes, this is the last fiscal year. Those are the unaccompanied minors that came into Texas. That's the divvying up of the 30,000 unaccompanied minors, which a lot of them are teenage gang members of MS-13 and other gangs.
Well, and I have commented so many times that I'm sure some of the very, very supportive and routine listeners of the Ruthie Report are saying, yeah, and they're 30 years old with their, 5 o'clock shadow. But here are the top 10 states where the children have been sent to join their so-called sponsors. Texas, New York is number 2. Florida is 3. California, Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey, North Carolina, Georgia, and rounding out number 10 is Louisiana. I wonder how many of these people in these states actually understand what is really going on. Why their legislators...
Not a lot.
No.
Because it's not publicized. It's not talked about. And those are the 30,000 unaccompanied minors for 2014.
Do you have any idea what the cost is for the resettlement, refugee resettlement program to the American taxpayer, or do you have it just by state, or do you have any idea what this is just financially costing us?
Well, for the ones being resettled by Baptist Children and Family Services, it apparently is $63 million a year just for that one organization. Of course, there's incalculable costs of health and disease. It's amazing.
Their living, and being able to communicate, and I remember seeing a short video, and it was pretty much a still picture, but with the description of what we were looking at, and it was showing a person explaining to a bunch of individuals that, one, it's not okay in this country to beat your wife, and two, you don't start a fire on a stove.
Yeah.
This is just alarming. If they would have a gas stove and try to start it on fire, it's just...
Getting back to your question about the cost, cost per refugee $1,850 from the State Department, up to $2,200 for each refugee by participating in the program known as Matching Grant. To get that $2,200, the implementing partner, or VOLAG, needs to only show that it spent $200 and gave away $800 worth of donated clothes, furniture, or cars. Now, then there's the transportation costs. And the VOLAG pockets 25% of every transportation loan it collects from every refugee it sponsors. Of course, this one your listeners will really love. All of the implementing partners are VOLAGs, VOLAG, Caritas, Baptist Children Family Service, everyone who has an office in Washington, D.C., has their expenses and overhead paid by the U.S. government.
But they don't work for the government.
That's right.
We are paying for their government. For their their office space and their electricity, and are we paying their wages?
Apparently so. Well, in any way we are, because they're getting the grant money. Is the vast majority of these organizations' income. So yes, we are, but this is direct payment. So to rent an office on K Avenue, downtown DC, the electricity, the water, travel expenses, all of that.
You are kidding me.
I wish
you
I was.
are kidding me. You know, it's just so mind-boggling, and there's so much. I'm trying to. I don't mean to push you, Dave. It's just there's so much I want to get out to everybody that.
Yes.
It's hard to do all of this. So now.
Right, now, just a second, because I'm not finished, unfortunately.
Oh no.
Then there are the federal programs that are available to the refugees. This is money that comes directly from our government to them. They get the same welfare programs that a U.S. citizen does. Temporary assistance for needy families, Medicaid, food stamps, public housing, supplemental security income, disability insurance, ADD, Child Care and Development Fund, Independent Living Program, job opportunities for low-income individuals, post-secondary education loans and grants, any type of refugee assistance program, and Title IV foster care and adoption assistance payments if the parents are qualified immigrants, i.e. refugees.
What about, and I do want to get back to this, that this is backdoor illegal immigration, but what about Obamacare?
Well, I'm sure that they will come up with a way to make sure they get Obamacare, since they are eligible to federal programs as if they were a U.S. citizen.
See, and right there is the rub. Right there's the rub. We have, meaning our government, has decided for us, without us weighing in, that they are going to bring these people or those people. And what this, in my opinion, does is now they don't have to actually go through the process to come here legally and be screened and sponsored or whatever. And, they don't have to fly into Mexico or South America and, come up through the border illegally or come on visas and overstay them and spit on the law. They don't have to do any of this. They don't have to fill out applications. Well, they say they do, but they don't have to do anything. They just sit there and wait for us to bring them over, and then when they get here, seeing that they are not classified as illegally in the country, which of course we know is a joke and they're getting it anyway, they qualify for our benefits.
That's right. What's really interesting are the numbers of people that have come from countries I could have sworn we liberated. In Texas, over the past 12 years, they've resettled 877 Afghanis and over 11,000 Iraqis.
Why is it that we are so worried? And I do mean this. It's not just being sarcastic. It is sarcastic, but I actually mean it. Why is it that we are so worried about the welfare of others, foreigners, when we don't seem to give a crap about what's happening here. And I mean our unemployed American citizens, some families living in their cars, U.S. veterans living on the streets, veterans dying because they're not getting proper medical care. All of these issues, and I could go on and on and on, and it drives me insane that those, apparently the American citizen is not the priority, but bringing somebody over from Syria without checking them out, knowing what their status is, and then you open the program with these Muslims and other people upset because, golly gee, they should take an oath to the United States of America. This is just, David, is such utter nonsense. I just don't understand it. We don't take care of our own, but hell's bells, let's just bring in God knows who into the country and give them everything.
Well, you're absolutely correct. Remember, Obama raised the ceiling when he took office. What was going on in the country economically? We were in a severe recession, and we needed the government to bail us out, and yet he saw fit to raise the ceiling and bring in 20,000 more people to care for totally. And you're right. Who are they working for?
Exactly.
Are they working for the citizen or somebody else?
You know, what would you expect for somebody that, you know, is just hell-bent on bringing in illegal immigration in masses? I mean, you know, and there's actually talk now that they want to go to South America and actually fly children in instead of making them go through the trip of getting to our border and spitting on our rule of law and then waving down a border patrol agent who most likely will probably be back in the office going through, you know, jail records and stuff, seeing Obama now wants them to inform illegal aliens and question them. Hey, can you qualify for the lawless, unconstitutional amnesty of Obama? Oh, great. We'll see you later. Get out of jail free card. I cannot believe this nonsense. Dave, we have to take a break. When we come back, I would like to, you know, you can go where you would like with this, or I would like to know what information you have on the Muslim ties with the Hispanic world, especially right over our southern border. But we do have to take our second break here. Will you please stay tuned, Dave? All right, we'll be right back. Okay? Hang on.
Okay.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
When I'm training, I always listen to music. For the gym, it's hip-hop. For cross-country, classical. And for jumps, I need something special. So I use my Citi Thank You Visa card for music downloads and earn 2 times the points. Plus, a little extra inspiration.
Excuse me while I kiss this guy.
The Citi Thank You Preferred Visa card. Earn 2 times the points on entertainment and dining out with no annual fee. Citi, with you every step of the way.
It's not about how many miles you can get out of the C-Max Hybrid. It's about how much life you can fit into it. The Ford C-Max Hybrid, with an EPA estimated range of 540 miles on a tank of gas, and all the room you need to enjoy the trip. Go stretch out. Go further.
The moment you connect, you're no longer in control.
What does this guy want? No claim, no statement.
We're facing a nuclear meltdown.
This is only the beginning.
Black Hat, rated R.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here.
We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
Who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
If I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Welcome back to the Ruthie Report. Thank you for tuning in. If you're just entering the program, our special guest this evening is Dave, and we are discussing the refugee resettlement program as fast as we possibly can in a 55-minute span. Thank you again, Dave, for being my guest this evening. Thank you for the service to our country. And I want to just ask you one question before we move. When we went to break, sure. I had asked if we could discuss Muslim ties in the Hispanic world. But while we were on break, I was thinking of something, and I would just like you to kind of weigh in. We were talking about all of the benefits that these refugees, selected by God only knows who, paid for by the American taxpayer, all of the bennies they are getting. For every single American and listener that's listening now who is fed up to hear with having to pay your health care premiums now thanks to Obamacare, you know, it just drives me insane that they will. First of all, they're going to get health care through the EMTALA Act, even if we didn't have Obamacare, because we refuse to not provide health care or, you know, emergency care in this country. But we are paying for it. I am so tired of hearing, oh, we have to have this backpack for lunches for the starving children, and we have to have this program for the minorities, and we got to have this collection for this. You know, if they quit sending more people to the country, maybe we could feed the hungry. Maybe we could provide health care for our fellow Americans. Why is it that this administration and in the past just believes that the American taxpayer is just made out of money?
I don't think they believe they're made out of money. I think it is a direct assault on our way of life and our ideology, using the Cloward-Piven strategy to overstress the system to the point of breaking. Because even if we did seal off the border, and even if we did stop the number of people coming in, it still would not be the federal government's responsibility to take care of the people who are already here. That's left to private institutions.
Yep. There used to be such a thing as a helping hand up, not a hand out. And this country has lost sight of that, and now it's whatever you can give me for free, I'll vote for you kind of crap. And then on top of it, if that's not bad enough, we're flooding the country with people who hold no allegiance to this nation and are utilizing every resource it has, and it is the American who is not benefiting. And it's breaking my heart. But okay, Dave, would you share with us, especially seeing that you are a Texas border volunteer, excellent patriots, every single one of them. I am a member as well. Seeing that you are part of the TBV and you are in Texas and you do the watches and on near the border, can you share with us what is the Muslim ties to the Hispanic world?
Oh, well, that's a big issue. First off, the Muslims from basically from North Africa, ruled over what is Portugal and Spain from the 8th century until the 15th, when in 1492 they were driven out by Ferdinand and Isabella. So they had 7 centuries of cross-culturalization. So they share a lot of ties, similarities in outlook, culture, things like that. But in addition to that, we know that there are human trafficking and infiltration routes that fly people over to South America, have them go to the tri-border region on that continent, which is a lawless zone, and where they are basically immersed in language and culture to make them appear Hispanic. Now, and then they're moved north up through South America, Central America, Mexico, and crossing the border. In addition to that, there are a lot of Muslim communities in Mexico, some Shia, some Sunni, so they can support both Hezbollah and any number of Sunni terrorist organizations such as the Islamic State or Al Qaeda or Hamas.
Okay.
So the ties there, I mean, they're a growth business in Mexico itself.
Now we have it confirmed that Hezbollah is in Mexico. I mean,
yes.
You know, all of these facts that you and I are sharing tonight can be confirmed. It's not like this is just what your or my thoughts are. So,
well, let me put it to you this way: in 1991, when I returned from Kuwait after the Gulf War, I was asked if my Arabic was good enough to listen to radio intercepts along the Arizona border. That's 1990. Actually, 92. No, 91. Yeah, May of 91. So that's how long this has been going on, at least.
Can you say that one more time, just so the listeners catch that again?
Okay. I returned from the Gulf War. I was doing an after-action report, and I was approached by members of the military to see if my Arabic was good enough to listen to radio intercepts along the Arizona border that were people speaking Arabic.
You know, and for those that do not know, you know, not to switch off from the Muslim, but the TBV has provided us with pictures showing that there's actually signs on the border further in that say in English, in Spanish, and in Chinese. It's a beacon. If you need help, push button, do not leave. You cannot honestly look me in the face and tell me that we do not have a problem with illegal entry when you have to put it in 3 languages, one is being Hispanic and the other being Chinese. For criminy sakes, Dave, this is just utterly insane.
I will go even further than that and tell you that what we're facing on the border is a nexus of evil of different countries and organizations that want to destroy the United States of America. Because what we've encountered there, we being Texas Border Volunteers and other organizations, is human trafficking convoys where they're bringing in Chinese women. We know that the Russian mafia is one of the largest, if not the largest, criminal enterprise in Mexico. We know that the drug cartels work with Hezbollah and other groups. We know that it is the stated goal, it is the intent of the drug cartel organizations to create a 100-mile lawless zone in the southern part of Texas where they can operate with impunity. And we know that there are certain areas coming across the U.S. border that usually Arabs come across in these certain sectors, or Iranians. Usually the Iranians go up south of California and cross. And in Arizona, and now in Texas, that we have indications that Arabs and sometimes Kurds are crossing.
So now, within the refugee settlement program, we are bringing in what I think is an ungodly amount of people. I don't think any of them should come in. I think they should have to go through the legal system that is set up, that they shouldn't get a pass and a break any more than anybody else that's trying to come to this country legally. They should have to follow the same protocol and laws. But, so, why is it that these that are coming through the southern border that are being smuggled in, is it because there just wasn't a high enough head count to come through the refugee program? Is this because as far as I can understand, they're not screening any of these that they're bringing across. They might say they are, but they're not. So how are they selected who comes across in the refugee program and who actually has to go down to Mexico and come through first?
Okay, this is going to be a several part answer.
Okay.
First off, it's the UN who's in charge of the vetting of the people. We know from experience that they have let slip by several supporters of different terrorist groups. In fact, the only disqualification is if you have actually participated in a terrorist attack against Western forces. And then I'm going to read you a quote from Congressman McCall down in Austin. Equally worrisome is that terrorists might use refugee groups as a Trojan horse to get into the West. Hundreds of thousands of Syrian refugees have poured into Turkey this year, and many of them have left for other European countries by boat. It is unclear whether extremists are hiding in these groups, as few are comprehensively screened on the way out. That was from
McCall.
Well, yes, Congressman McCall, 12 November 14. So there's that aspect that they're really not being screened, and of course, because they have refugee status, they can then have enact the links to bring in other family members.
There we go too. Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so there's that element of it. But then these are people coming in that are putting a burden on our system. So you have to look at it as a supporting initiative by those who want to bring this country down. It supports putting the strain on our system. Yes, they can get people in, but also what they would like to do is get in terrorists undetected in the U.S., so they still use the routes, the drug routes and the human trafficking routes that the cartels have set up. They just pay more to get in. And what there is a YouTube video about Hezbollah operating in Mexico, and the undercover agent that talks about it essentially says the reason we haven't been attacked is not because they're not coming across, but because they look at America right now as their cash cow because of the money they make from smuggling people and bringing in drugs that goes back to Lebanon.
So do you think, and I have two questions, do you think, but the cash cow question, do you think that the cash cow comment may have some bearing on why our elected non-representing representatives have absolutely no balls on this issue, and that's what they're afraid of?
Well, I can only judge actions. I don't judge intent. I just can say that unless they are totally insane or high on peyote, the only reasons that you would allow this to go on under your watch as an elected representative is you're totally clueless and an idiot, or you're a traitor.
Cash is trading hands, or fear, or I don't know,
or something, but
or you could
far between that our elected officials are standing up and taking an active voice condemning this, let alone talking about it.
Yeah, some of them just think it's an act of love, you know. Oh, God. Let's not even go there. That's another whole program. Anyway, okay, so now I still am missing something here. The human smuggling element of this. How is human smuggling involved in the refugee settlement program? Because if the UN is pushing for more and more and more, and they are selecting who is coming over, I don't understand why they would go to Mexico unless, there's just not enough of them coming over, and that's how they want to get in. But how does smuggling come into this?
Well, human smuggling is not directly tied to the refugee resettlement. I'm not saying that it is.
Okay.
What I am saying is that if you have a leftist, socialist-leaning official in the United Nations who hates America, and you have a former KGB agent who's now a part of the Russian mafia who hates America and wants to make money, well, what they're doing, whether they realize it or not, are supporting each other. They're bringing in refugees. They're playing on the heartstrings of the American people. Oh, these poor people need to be taken care of. And then you have the Russian guy who's providing access to jihadists on routes that he's coordinated with Mexican drug cartels, or he's smuggling in women who are trafficked into prostitution in Houston.
And of course, they're going to make more money out of that route than, because the refugees, if they get here, although many of them are scared to death anyway, they would have a tendency to rat them out faster than somebody who's smuggled in. But you brought up a good point. You brought up an excellent point that we're pulling on the heartstrings of Americans, that these people need to be taken care of. One, when is it that we're going to take care of our own first? Clean your own house. But two, if these people need to be taken care of so badly, why in the hell is their government not taking care of them? Why is there not an uprising in their own countries to take care of them? Is it because of fear? Well, you mean to tell me that fear is not coming then? That violence is not coming here with them, putting all of us at risk?
These people are coming mostly from combat zones.
Yep.
But your first part of your point is exactly on target. It would cost 1/5 of the amount of money up front to take care of these people where they are at to begin with, as opposed to resettling them in a new culture, a new country, a new language, a new way of life. That's a drain on an already taxed system.
Exactly. Why? There used to be a thing where people would go on missions. The church would go on missions to their countries to help them build water pipes and, all of this kind of thing, instead of this current philosophy where we will just flood this nation with anyone and everyone we choose, and the poor American taxpayer, whether they like it or not, can just bend over, grab their ankles, human collateral, financial, the whole 9 yards. They don't hear what we have to say. Which brings me to this, Dave. This is my last question of the evening, and because we have approximately 5 minutes. Why would we do this? This is my last question. What is the benefit to the United States of America and its citizens to have a refugee resettlement program such as we have?
It's not a benefit.
There is no benefit.
It is a strategy to collapse the country, to overtax our system, and to water down the way of life and ideology which made this nation great.
And you started the program with the perfect example of this. The example that you ask anyone at Muslim prayer day in Texas, what in the hell is that anyway?
Well, it is Muslim. It's supposed to be a day where they come and learn about our government, but what it has turned into is a rally of how they are superior. From last year, the leader of the chapter of CARE from Dallas said that because they were Muslims, they were above the law of the land.
You know, it's an insult to the United States. It's an insult all the way around to actually have people in this country who want to target, assault, verbally assault people that want to ask, those that want a part of the American dream, to take an oath to this country, and for some reason there's something wrong with that, is mind-boggling. It is just mind-boggling.
There is one thing I don't want to leave with this situation as it is.
Right.
There is a solution.
Okay.
And that's people in different states need to petition and lobby their state legislatures to withdraw from the operation, from the program. It's in the law, and you can find the law on Ann Cochran's site, but each state can withdraw from participating in the program and end it. And in fact, Wyoming I don't believe has ever participated in it, and they even have laws against those businesses who resettle refugees in their state.
And Wyoming is the only state left, right?
What? Wyoming's the only state left, but let's not make it the only state left. Let's go ahead and lobby our legislatures and withdraw from the program. That's one thing. Lobby at least to end subsidies for any type of refugee coming in. I mean, if some sort of church group wants to do it on your own dime.
Exactly. Why are we forced to pay for this? And the repercussions of what is happening, and you started it with just saying the UN, that already took care of it for me, but the repercussions, the cost, there is no benefit to the United States or its citizens by doing this. For all of those that feel so terribly bad, your heart is just weighed down and you're weeping for all of these refugees in war-torn districts. Help them there. They do not need to live here. I tell you what, Dave, we have about 1 minute left. So I will, if you would, sir, thank you very much up front and in advance for being my guest this evening. If you want to give those sites and anything that you would like to close with, thank you. Really, I'm honored to have you on the program, Dave.
Thank you. Here's I'll close with this example of the hypocrisy of the system. Maher El-Ghouri and his daughter Dina, who converted to Christianity, couldn't get into the U.S. They were in hiding in Egypt from 2008 to 2011, where they were able finally to get out and go to all places, Syria. But during those years, they weren't allowed in under refugee status, even though they were being persecuted and threatened. And Dina actually had acid thrown on her by somebody who recognized her at a store. And yet we're bringing in all these other people who really don't have this fear of being persecuted for their beliefs, or they're really not in direct imminent danger. And so that's just an example of the backwardness that we're looking at this issue with from the government point of view. So
it's just mind-boggling that I'm trying to find here. It's just mind-boggling that we cannot ask them to take an oath to this country without being verbally assaulted. This is the United States of America. The United States of America. Dave, you and I could talk about this for hours. I thank you very much, really, honestly, for being on the program. I have about 2 minutes left, so I do have to go, but stay safe.
Thank you, Ruthie. It was a pleasure being on.
Thank you for being my guest. We will see you next week, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great week. So much news, only so much time. Again, thank you to my guest Dave on the Refugee Resettlement Program. Good night.